So to contrast that, like I said, there's been ups and downs and there's been some really rocky moments. Do you remember exactly where you were in 2014 when you heard that there was an incident and that there was some problems?
So we were on site for the final night of the festival, and word started murmuring through some of the senior management about issues down at B-Dub Campgrounds, which is a separately run business. It was an accommodation provider for the Rhythm and Vines punters that we used to entertain at Waihaka Estate. And each night they'd leave our event and go back to the campground. We worked in tandem with the festival because they were all the same punters, but it was run quite separately. And a culture had developed down at the beach that was slightly unbecoming for the level we wanted to be at with the entertainment. So kids would go down there. It was a BYO culture. They had a lot of time on their hands. They were perhaps kind of cramped up together. By day 5 of that particular year, I think a few shenanigans took place, slightly blown out in the media, but the authorities came in nonetheless, pretty heavy-handed, and the kids responded in kind. So word had got around that evening that there'd been some trouble down there. Kids had been arrested, bottles had been thrown, fires had been lit, and it wasn't till the next day, in the light of day, that the media got hold of it. And we knew that the concept down there needed to change if we were to continue.
And they were separate, but the tar stuck, right? It was basically R&V's. This situation in Gisborne is a problem.
Exactly. People going to Gisborne for Rhythm and Vines are now causing trouble, and it was a catalyst for change. The model was broken. There's not many festivals in the world where the accommodation's 15-minute drive from the actual entertainment. Most of these bigger concepts like Glastonbury, like Coachella, people are staying on site, being entertained on site, being watered and fed, and all under the same license and under the same entity. So to have these two competing yet complementary businesses in the same town run at different levels with different staff was never going to last. We're lucky we lasted as long as we did.
Yeah, also run by mates, right? Like, how hard was it to smooth that relationship when there was so much complexity going on about the futures of both endeavours? Yeah,
well, that was the friction that had, started to appear. And I remember the day Andrew said, let's do camping at Rhythm and Vines, but I was a concert promoter at that stage trying to organise a party. I had no thoughts about multiple days and camping, and with that comes showers and how do you feed people, and we didn't want anything to do with it. We said we'll run the party, we don't want to do the accommodation. So B-Dub Campgrounds was created down at the beach, which was a fantastic concept for young New Zealanders, and people still talk about it fondly. It was a real basic concept: grab your mates, grab a tent, box of beers, and have a Kiwi summer holiday, which is, you're right.
Well, it still happens now, right?
Exactly.
It's just not branded something. It's you go to any campground over summer and there's kids enjoying themselves, funneling up and just having a good time.
Yeah, there were some halcyon days, but 5 days was probably too much for a lot of these people. They'd come in on the 27th, get stuck into their work. Rhythm and Vines didn't start till the 29th. So that's a big 5-day window of twiddling your thumbs down at the beach, but a lot of binge drinking, a lot of, shenanigans going on. So that was a catalyst for change. After 2014, we brought everyone back to Rhythm and Vines. We created this new dawn, which was a new look and feel for the festival, trying to get rid of that binge drinking, spring break, bikini comp kind of culture that had slowly crept up on the whole Gisborne experience, and get back to a more sophisticated European style festival with beer gardens, with entertainment during the day, the comedy. We had some motocross. We had, different forms of entertainment, some fantastic, nice food people could enjoy. We had shade structures, and we tried to make it more of a festival experience, not about the drinking, but about the enjoying Rhythm and Vines.
Did it hit?
It did.
Straight away?
Yeah, well, people were at first saying, Rhythm and Vines has changed, and we were like, good, yes, we have changed for the better. And we didn't want to, knock the nut with a sledgehammer, so to speak. Is
that a cricket phrase?
Could be.
We didn't want to pull the rug from these kids and say, no BYO. We had to really integrate this beer garden culture into the Kiwi psyche. They were like, can I not bring my 2 dozen double brown into the campground? No, you can't, but we got $6 beers. At one stage, we did $3 beers in the afternoon. The media got hold of it and said, you're selling beer cheaper than water, but better than drinking on site under our license than a bowl of vodka down at the beach.
Yeah.
So this beer garden culture slowly crept in, and people were like, oh, okay, I can drink here. It's not going to blow my budget completely, but it's better than buying double brown box down at the shops. And ever since we've got rid of BIO, we can run the bars effectively. It's a lot better for the business going forward, and we're under all the consents that we need to in health and safety, and working with our beverage partners to create a safe drinking environment.
It did work out well in the end, but how close did it come to falling over? You talked about like the media got a hold of it. There was a lot of heat on you guys. Did it come close to ending?
It came really close, and at one stage we did decide to collectively end the business. We had a number of creditors. We had this drinking culture that was out of control. We had the health and safety laws changed as well, so all directors were going to be liable for any incidents that happened on site. And I remember Peter Jackson had even stepped back from his production companies because there's just so much liability. And the Mangatu company, the Maori landowners that we work with, they were going to be liable for some of any incident that happened on their land, and the authorities were coming down hard on the drinking culture. We started to have some competition in Tauranga with some New Year's shows. We were at rock bottom, really, 2015. But
was that financially as well?
Financially, we were in quite a bit of strife. We'd overextended on the number of years leading up to that with artist budgets, with running projects in the South Island, with just, I guess, the wear and tear of running these businesses. We had a full-time staff, probably 10 staff, working at an office here in Auckland. The economies were just out. We didn't have a good handle on our product. The drinking culture was a big issue, but also no one was drinking at the event either. There was, I think, only $20 spend, so they were going back to the campsites to drink. So the whole thing was needed a full rebirth, and that's when we came up with the New Dawn, and we communicated effectively 10 new things about Rhythm and Vines that we're going to make it smaller, we're going to make it safer, make it more professional. We wanted parents to have trust in us to look after their kids over that period, not get thrown in the paddy wagon like they'd seen on TV. And we got back to our roots, and we had a smaller festival that year. We brought in some new acts like Angus and Julia Stone and Dave Dobbin, and it wasn't about the rave or the party, it was just about enjoying the experience. And we only sold about 10,000 or so tickets that year, but we were able to rebuild the festival with a new direction that has lasted us through to today.
So how did you turn that corner when you're all collectively deciding it's done to rebuilding? Like, who drove that?
Well, at one stage I was the only director carrying the can. My business partners stepped back. There was too much risk involved. We were already getting called by creditors. The liabilities were huge, but the only way through was really to trade our way out. And we had Kieran, our CEO, who's still with us today, fantastic leader, professional, helping manage the creditors. They were baying for blood, but we had to bring them along for the ride and say, look, if you want to get paid, if you want to get paid the next 5 years and keep this festival going, then you need to support our vision going forward. And we had some really fantastic support from the industry, some lenient payment terms. We were able to trade our way out of our hole, and it took us a year or two, but that was some of the darkest days, but also some of the most rewarding as well. I think when you're that low, you've only got one way, which is to fight yourself out. And life was quite simple because it was just, let's focus on this product, let's get it right. And it took a year or two, but we soon hit our straps again.
When did you start introducing things like the VIP concept? When did that come in as part of that New Dawn, or was that already established prior to that?
We've always done the Vintage Club, which was, again, for people that have been to the festival for a few years, a little bit older and wiser and wanting some creature comforts. So that's always been a big part of the festival. But again, it was part of the New Dawn. Let's look after those VIPs. Let's look after the Gisborne community as well. So we used to offer, pre-drinks for them and free buses into town and things like that to help win the locals over again. And, we wanted to offer that premium experience and champagne at midnight. And I think that still rings true. We've got about 3,000 people in our Vintage Club now, and you guys would fit right in. We've got the All Blacks are all there. The Chiefs boys love it. They're always good supporters. You've got
We're in.
Sounds like an invite.
Sounds like we're in.
and you can watch, you can watch from the side of the stage. We've got TV screens to enjoy the action, and you're under the vines. You're on a daybed, fizzy cocktail. It's it's a really premium environment.
Are there tiers to that? Can you go above vintage? Is there anything like that you don't speak about? There's a secret handshake to get into like the exclusive club?
We have talked about festivals overseas have those backstage areas where you can be around the artists but we've got quite a unique proposition with the big house, the homestead at Waiheke, where the artists are hosted, and that's their green rooms, and they're up in the bedrooms, and they've got looking out over the vineyard, and that's a space that we keep private for them. But out in front of the house on the lawn, we've done some activations with our partners. Pernod Ricard set that up like a mum lounge, and again, champagne and sitting on the beanbag. And yeah, there's so many cool nooks and crannies now to go and enjoy the festival, whether you're watching the indie band in the garden stage or letting your hair down in the Goose Club. Different activations. It's the Powell Zone on top of the hill. You can look out. It's a real wonderland for all young and old.
We're into
selling it. He's selling. I'm hooked. I'm in.
Might make
We're start fucking shredding now.